Better late than never. That might have been the theme last season for the Boston College Eagles after their 2-5 start. That's right, 2-5, and they still had Louisville and Florida State on the schedule. No problem. Boston College really turned things around with 5 regular season games to go, and they pulled off the stunning upset. The offense really picked up for BC, winning at Louisville, and not only beating Florida State, but annihilating them. It was a lopsided contest. So Boston College won 5 of their final 6 regular season games and ended the season with a 7-6 mark. A winning year when in the beginning it didn't look like they were even going to come close to approaching bowl eligibility. But you have to give Steve Adazio's squad credit for being able to pull off that feat. Quite a few players come back on both sides of the ball. We're going to start offensively for BC and their sensational running back, AJ Dillon, one of those freshmen last year that made a huge nationwide impact with nearly 1,600 yards rushing and 14 scores, and you get him back. Not coming back, though, is John Hilleman, a member of that backfield. He decided to transfer to Rutgers, so Travis Levy looks like he'll be the backup for Dillon for this Boston College rushing attack. Quarterback play was also guided by a freshman for the majority of the season. Anthony Brown, his play definitely picked up and unfortunately did not get to finish the season. Had a torn ACL game number 10 against North Carolina State, and that allowed Darius Wade to finish the season, but Wade has now transferred to Delaware. So a little bit of a depth issue that Boston College will have entering this season as far as the QB and the running back goes. And we'll see how E.J. Perry does if called upon. Looks like he'll be the number 2 guy at the QB position. Boston College, really watch how they do as far as touchdown and interception ratio. Last year it was not good overall for the quarterbacks, 16 touchdowns and 12 picks. Wide receivers, well, you do get the top 4 back. And the number 1 guy is actually the tight end. And Tommy Sweeney. Sweeney last year, 36 catches, had 4 touchdowns, maybe the best tight end in the ACC. You also get Kobe White back, who last season as a freshman had 34 catches and a pair of scores, and Jeff Smith, who had 25 catches for the Eagles, a senior, had 11.8 yards per reception. But this was not a team that really made headlines throwing the ball, only 166 yards passing per game. That was 114th in the country. It was running the ball where Boston College made their money. 220 yards rushing per game. That was 25th in the country. And you can thank the offensive line for a good part of that. Granted, you don't have Sam Schmall back, all ACC honorable mention, but you get everybody else back, including the right tackle. That's Chris Lindstrom, second team all ACC a year ago, a senior. And we mentioned earlier that you have Tommy Sweeney back, the tight end, and another tight end, Chris Garrison. Expect Boston College to line up traditionally with a 2 tight end set. The defense last year for Boston College gave up 22 points per game. Pretty good. That was 34th best in the country. They'll go with the 4-3 alignment. You get 6 of the 11 back, including 5 of the top 6 tacklers. Zach Allen, you get him back at the defensive end position. 100 tackles, 15.5 of those were tackles for loss. He was a beast up front and had 6 sacks. You get Ray Smith back, a starter at defensive tackle. The defense, though, suffers a big loss at linebacker. Ty Schwab no longer there. 107 tackles, by far leading the team in this department. John Lamont will be back, though, at the middle linebacker spot, who started last year as a freshman. And Kevin Bletzer, get him back entering his senior year at the strong side linebacker spot. Secondary really made things happen last year for the Eagles. 18 interceptions, only 10 touchdowns allowed. Pretty good. And Lucas Dennis does come back. Had 7 interceptions and now enters his senior year at free safety. The strong safety will be occupied by Will Harris, also a senior. Boston College, again, really excelled in the secondary. Rush defense, though, has to be better. They gave up 190 yards on the ground per game, which was only 94th in the country. By the way, the pass defense was 3rd in the country in passing efficiency. Field goal kicking, though, that will need to be an area of big-time improvement. Last season, missing 8 kicks out of 20. Got to have that kicking game corrected. It should be a 2-0 start for the guys from Chestnut Hill. Boston College's 3rd game and 4th, well, they'll be toughies. At Wake Forest, a team that beat BC last year by 24, and Purdue, an up-and-coming Big Ten school. Should be no worse than a 3-2 beginning for Boston College. Got to go to NC State, though, and last season the Wolfpack won at BC by 3 points. Louisville, I anticipate Boston College will win this one. You get a bye week, and then you'll go through a 4-game stretch, which might be the toughest in the country. You get the top 2 teams from the Coastal in Miami and Virginia Tech, and then the 2 toughest teams from their own division, that's the Atlantic, with defending league champion Clemson, and then you got to go to Florida State. You get to close out the year, though, with what should be a W against Syracuse. AJ Dillon and that veteran offensive line makes the Eagles dangerous on the ground. The passing game, though, might be a different story. Plus, the rush defense, yeah, they've got to get a lot better. It wasn't good last season at all. That combined with that schedule from late October to mid-November might be as tough as any you see. I look for Boston College to finish 5th in the ACC Atlantic. That's my look at the Eagles. See you next time.